Greg Rutherford of Britain won gold with a long jump of 27 feet, 3¼ inches. Let's compare that to all the medal-winning jumps since 1896. There are more than 80 athletes here, spanning a century of Olympic history. What do we see here? Definitely a lot of Americans who won almost all the golds and more than half of all medals. Most of these athletes jump more than 25 feet. But how far is that? A better sense of scale might help. Let's start with something we might know a little better. Say an NBA basketball court. Even 100 years ago, athletes could jump way past the free throw line, and most would be past the top of the key. But there's one clear standout. Here, past the NBA three-point line, is the jump that belongs to Bob Beamon, one of the most iconic Olympians ever. In Mexico City in 1968, he jumped 29 feet, 2½ inches, more than 2 feet farther than anyone before, an Olympic record that's held for 44 years. Even the winner in Beijing, just 4 years ago, is almost 2 feet back. That's one reason the long jump is different. Unlike, say, swimming, records aren't dropping year after year. Instead, a few performances stand out. After a flurry of improvement in the early games, Jesse Owens set a record in Berlin that would have won a gold medal in any Olympics until 1960. Owens was almost 23 when he made his jump. So is youth the secret? Not exactly. Carl Lewis won his first long jump in Los Angeles when he was 23. Then repeated 4 years later in Seoul. Then again in Barcelona. And 4 years after that in Atlanta when he was 35. So what do Lewis and Owens have in common? They both had gold medal speed, and ultimately the long jump is a speed event. But there are some things that jumpers can't control, like wind. Some medalists have jumped into a headwind, while others have had a tailwind. For Beamon's event, officials measured a 4.5-mile-an-hour tailwind for all 3 medalists, the maximum tailwind allowed. But wind alone doesn't account for 2 feet, and jumping that far isn't impossible. In 1991, outside the Olympics, Mike Powell jumped about 2 inches farther than Beamon, setting a world record that endures today. But on the Olympic field, Beamon's record still stands. 44 years later, still better than any Olympian ever.